I speak weekly with healthcare executives who are interested in having me on site to deliver training that helps their leaders become better bosses. During these first contact conversations, I ask a series of questions to assess the needs of the organization and the specific challenges facing the frontline and mid-level managers there. And every single time, the subject of change is front and center. If you're like most of the healthcare leaders I meet, you have endured relentless change for years now, and you recognize that getting employees on board with that change is a constant struggle. That's why, in this episode of Your Practice Ain't Perfect, I'm giving you key strategies to help employees accept change. Stay right there. Whether the change at your site is big, a complete reimagining of the organizational chart, for example, or it's smaller, installing a new billing software or changing the schedule, your employees have some important needs that must be met if you want them to pitch in instead of freak out. First of all, leaders at all levels have to share a compelling why. Employees have to hear reasons that a change is occurring, and those reasons need to be things that employees care about. Saying that you've switched EMR vendors because the new service is much cheaper might be true, but that doesn't resonate. Talk instead about the specific things that will be improved or expanded with the savings gained from making the switch. Like this: hey everyone, I know this change is a pain, but the cost savings we're going to get are going to allow us to add a few more positions so we're not all feeling so overwhelmed all the time. You see what I did there? In addition to giving a compelling why, I also acknowledged the change. Change is uncomfortable for a ton of reasons. In the early stages, it forces everyone to slow down, it makes people feel stupid, and everyone has to spend more energy and effort just to get through the day. Acknowledging the pain of change is an act of empathy. If you're constantly telling folks to get over it, or that it's no big deal, you're skipping this important step, minimizing their discomfort, and you're setting yourself up as an adversary instead of as an ally. Now that said, leaders can't let teams wallow in the suffering that comes with change either. So we have to acknowledge the pain, but we also have to pair that with messages of self-efficacy. That means helping convince people that they are capable of succeeding. Tell your employees that you're all in this together, that you know they can do it, that hey, we've faced tougher challenges than this before. Have conversations that break change down into smaller, less daunting steps, and make sure that you are around as the leader to answer questions and acknowledge their effort. Now, why are these things important? Psychology tells us that there's a time period between when people learn about change that's coming and getting on board. And in that space between is where people decide whether they're going to fight, flee, or face it. Some people will be resistant to change. They will fight it. Some people will flee. They'll decide they don't want to be a part of it and they'll bail out, and that's okay. And others, though, will process what's happening and with a little bit of help from you, decide to face it fully, despite it being difficult. Giving them a compelling reason why, acknowledging their pain, and boosting their self-efficacy are all key to helping employees accept change and face it head on. Last but certainly not least, make sure you are constantly sharing information and updates. Constantly. Change breeds uncertainty, and that uncertainty evokes fear and resistance. Knowledge is power, which helps employees successfully navigate doubt and insecurity. Commit as much transparency as possible, and don't sugarcoat things. Care enough about your people to tell them the truth, and do it often. Now it's your turn. What types of tactics have you used to help your team successfully accept and adapt to change? Tell me about them in the comments box below. And if you found this video helpful, I'd be so grateful if you shared it with your network on LinkedIn. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.